All right, look, diarrhea explosion bubble bath. All right, let me see what this is. And I certainly ain't going to I ain't going to read all that. So let's see what the hell this is. All
Hi,
right?
Dad. Just a few questions I've been curious about recently.
Oh, yeah?
I'd love to hear your insight since you've lived through the golden years of America's history. Is
Okay.
America socialist/communist now? Isn't healthcare technically centralized by the government now?
Yes.
Is the architecture of everything turning gray and simple a direct result of our country starting to fall into communism?
Yes.
So can we visibly see the degradation of America?
That's what I've been saying.
My parents tell me that back then, insurance for everything was reasonably priced, unlike today where insurance for everything is easily in the hundreds and thousands per month.
Of course.
And that there were so many more options to choose from.
Uh-huh.
Why is everything so sky-high now?
Obamacare.
How can anyone get ahead when insurances take half of your paw?
Obamacare, okay? Look, no offense. I don't mean to cross the streams, okay? But insurance wasn't a huge part of healthcare. You know that you could go in the 70s and, like, even if you didn't have healthcare, you could go into a hospital and have your child for, like, I don't know, a few grand. Like, I think it's like $2,500, $3,000. Okay, which, I mean, was a lot of money even back then, but you could reasonably pay for it. I think now to have a child is like, I think it's $100,000 or some shit. I couldn't believe it. And it's based on billing your insurance. And you see Obamacare, what it did is it gave insurance like Federal Reserve authority over your health care. And you see what happened is that the practitioners, they could no longer independently practice, because that's really what doctors are. Doctors and physicians practice on people. That's why they call it a practice. And you see, you could go and, to a general physician, and general physicians back then, because most people didn't have insurance, and even if you did, it would only cover very little. People had to come out of pocket. So, when you came out of pocket and you paid general physicians, you could be able to trust that they wanted to have your best interest at hand, because they want you to not only come back, but they also want you to trust your wife and your children, to their general physicianry. And back when you went to the doctor back then, like I would say even in the 90s, 80s, 70s, doctors didn't prescribe you medication. They would see your general symptoms and say, look, you need to eat more of this, or, try eating more of this. Most doctors know that, true doctors know that most ailments are vitamin or essential nutrient or, if a deficiency. It's really what it is. And back then, doctors would be like, look, why don't you eat some more citrus, or why don't you do this and come back and we'll see what goes on from there. And that's how doctors used to take care of their patients. Now, because of the insurance incentive, meaning that because every doctor has to bill either insurance or Medicare or Medicaid in order to get paid, there is an incentivization to make sure that people are sick. And I've said this for years after Obamacare. If y'all been listening to me for a long time, especially True Capitalist Radio, show me somebody with badass insurance, and I will show you somebody that is habitually sick. I'll show you somebody that has a fucking pill box, and all that. That's what they're doing. That's the point. Now, many people will ask, well, Ghost, what's the motive of that? I don't understand. Why would people do that? Well, folks, we right now, and look, I don't mean to be crossing the fucking streams here, but we are seeing a transition from what we understood was modernity into a post-modernity, post-human era of reality. And you see the PayPal mafia, the Elon Musk and the Peter Thiels, they're in charge of the most precious commodity right now in the world. And that's everybody's data. Everybody's data. Because data will dictate the dystopian sci-fi movie that we're about to go into, which is the new reality of humanity. And let me explain something. Humanity most people are going to die. Most people in humanity. That's what all this shit is. That the weird weather, the fucking vax, war, world war, you name it. I mean, most of humanity is going to be eliminated here within the next, I would say, 25 to 30 years. And what they're going to do, I mean, Elon Musk has even said it. Elon Musk is like, I want more robots on the earth than human beings. You understand? And that's where we're headed. Okay, that's where we're headed. And whatever humans are left, okay, that's why things are going more communist. Because Marx believed that if you rapidly facilitate the dialectic materialistic evolution of humanity, and the dialectic materialistic evolution of humanity is a rapid facilitation of what Hegel, which was the father of philosophical dialectics, said, and I do believe in Hegel's idea. Like, Hegel believed that every reality, eventually contradictions within it are exposed, that old reality is destroyed, and then a new reality is created. And that evolution is what eventually will create a contradictionless society. And you see, the communists, instead of waiting like in capitalism, America, for instance, we went from agriculturalists to industrialists to post-industrialists to the communication and the transportation boom and all this other shit. It took us a long time to get from where we're at. And you see, the communists believe that we don't want to wait. The communists don't want to wait for that. They want to rapidly facilitate that, and they don't care. That's why the materialism in communism is a big deal. It's not just dialectic philosophy. It's materialism. Materialism justifies the mass murderings of human beings and, not caring about anybody except for the productive. And that's why
I'd buy that.
That's why communists don't care how many people they kill. And what is this, Candace Owen? Hey, Ghost, I love the show. I'm sad Nick Fuentes hates me, but I'm going to have another baby now. All right. Anyway, look, I'm just simply stating that we are in some variant of communism, and we're being rapidly pushed in it. I mean, why do you think Trump is, trying to throw military in the streets and that sort of thing? And I, look.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm being stopped from talking about this. Esriel Kecker, this shit is why I listen to you, Ghost. You keep the shit fucking real. Everyone watching, despite being a boomer, PostHuman is a perfect way to describe our future. It is. Because what Marx said, okay, let me explain to you why people believe in Marx. Because going back to the dialectic materialistic perspective, the philosophy that drives communism, they believe by rapidly facilitating it, like not worrying about the evolution like capitalism does. We go from agriculture, we go from that to industrialization and that. We're just going to rapidly facilitate, and we don't care how many it kills or whatever. This is a good depiction of this is Mao Zedong's Great Leap Forward. Mao Zedong didn't give a shit. We're gonna force an agricultural society into an industrial society. And you see, that's what the technocrats, the PayPal mafia and shit are doing right now. They are rapidly facilitating humanity into a point where we don't need humanity anymore. We only need a small portion of humanity, because Marx said that eventually what communism is, the dictatorship of the proletariat, a hard authoritarian human authority, it'll eventually wither away into anarchy, meaning there is no human authority. And then when there's no human authority, that's when we'll see a panacea. We will see a contradictionless society, as what Hegel said would be at the end. And you see, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to fucking rapidly facilitate this, and they're trying to justify, and look, they're subtly doing it. Eliminating the population. And they only really want maybe 10% of the world population to continue to live. And that 10%, they're going to live under the constructs of this dystopian AI, robotic, surveillance everywhere type of world, so that everybody lives in sync. The humans live the utopia life. The futuristic world that all these fucking sci-fi, depictions are. And, I'm sorry I'm going off on this. I really shouldn't even be talking about this. But let me just pose one more thing to you. Me and Mrs. Ghost have these kinds of conversations all the time. And we've always asked, because you take a look at what Elon Musk is trying to produce. And a lot of the things that he's trying to produce, the names and the engineering of the robotic or whatever the hell he's trying to produce, always is something pulled from Hollywood. It's pulled from movies, or it's pulled from a suggestion. Is life depicting art, or is art depicting life? Hey, hold on, wait. Ghost's wife's son with 333, whoa! $333 donation. What the hell, Ghost's wife's son? And thank you for the fucking... Hold on, in honor of my imminent entry to the IC, let's unwind a bit. Who the fuck is Ghost's wife's son? Who the fuck is Ghost's wife's son? You see, every time I get deep, all right, or every time I do something, you see shit like this happens. You see this shit? I was getting deep, and people are like, whoa, Ghost, that's fucking pretty deep, dude. We're going into like this dystopian shit, and yeah, and I'm not kidding. This shit happens all the fucking time. And respect your wife's son, boy. Oh my God, give me a drink. And fuck you, Jack is okay. You're stalling for donut. Fuck you. Here, give me a drink. And Blades Colon said, Jews beget postmodernism. Postmodernism is an attack on orthodoxy, identity, and societal norms. These items, after taking constant attacks, fall apart, and in doing so, allow the state of American life and our way of knowing ourselves and self-determination to crumble, which has begotten N-wordly feminism, multiculturalism, and other ails we now face. Well, that's why, people need to recognize that we are headed into a very, very weird time. I mean, this transition is going to take maybe 20 years. Maybe 20 years. All right? Anyway, I'm going to have to, before I get to Diarrhea and Explosions bubble bath, even though I answered your questions and it took a portion of the show, look, I owe Diarrhea Explosion bubble bath, which got us into some diatribe, which is why we're here now. I was supposed to watch his videos, which are supposed to be very short, and he said, this is a video of Ghost that has 3 million views. Oh, yeah? Well, where the fuck are they at now? How about that shit? What are you talking about? There's a video of me with 3 million fucking views? I mean, where the fuck are they at now? Oh, God. Put the PC shot on. Here it is.
Do you think that's what it is?
6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7.
What the?
6, 7, 6, 7.
What?
6, 7.
What? That's got 3 million fucking views? Are you, where are you? There's no way this has 3 million views. And here's another one. Can you fact check this guy, Dad? Fact check this guy. Don't laugh at that, dude. I'm really upset that that's all popular and shit. I'm not even kidding around. Anyway, I'm supposed to fact check this prick. Put the PC shot on. What is this?
Green dye. How did the middle class die? I'm going to tell you, it started in the 1980s with trickle-down economics that did not work. They decided to give tax cuts to the rich and corporations saying that money would trickle down. It didn't. It just made the rich richer. Then we greenlit stock buyback. So instead of, when the productivity was going up, instead of giving workers more money, they just bought back their stocks so the shareholders could make profit and the executives could get bonuses. Then we had leverage buyouts, and the government didn't regulate leverage buyouts.
This guy is just going through this in an abstract perspective. Every single thing that he's talking about made productivity that much better, and the opportunity of those that had ambitions that much more prosperous. Most people like this guy, or like the middle class, are idiots that just want to, like, what I'm pissed off about my employees. They want to get paid and just do the same job as minimal as possible, like fucking talking on their phones, and they want to do that indefinitely and never have any aspiration to continue to go forward or move up or any of that shit. And that's the problem.
And that was the start of private equity basically buying up everything so that they could make more money. Then we moved away from pensions to 401ks, which essentially just took the responsibility and accountability of the company to take care of their workers with the retirement and put it on to individuals. But we were never taught economics in high school, so how the fuck are we supposed to know about compound interest and investing? But they may said the 401k was better than the pension when it wasn't.
Well, you can't. You could probably have made that excuse there, bro, if this was like 80 or 90. But with the advent of the internet, it was very easy for you to get whatever knowledge that you're trying to say that school didn't take you. I mean, you could have looked it up. And instead, what did you do? You looked up your old fucking high school squeeze while you were married and talked to her and divorced your wife to bang this bitch and take care of her kids and like dumb shit like that. Or become a Chris Hansen to catch a predator bullshit. All right? The problem is that people like this guy, he has no ambition. He has no ambition. And I'm not trying to say that you should have this like tremendous ambition to be a millionaire or anything, but you should always think of like, all right, well, I have this good job. It's a good job, but it could go tomorrow. I mean, the economy could tank. I mean, fucking tariffs could come in. All this shit. I got to keep myself useful. What's going on?
Then they started shipping our jobs overseas, building the middle class of other countries so that they could make more profit, destroying the middle class here. Then we started ramping up the borrowing money and getting into debt as a country, which devalues our...
Well, I do agree with this, okay, because but you see, there's a double-edged sword for all this debt, all right? The double-edged sword is, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of debt and that sort of thing, but at the same time, that debt is redistributed to jobs like fucking morons like this will fucking work, which is what Doge was trying to create, because that's what most government jobs are. They're meaningless cogs that could probably be consolidated with technology, and that's what all this shit is. I mean, what do they call bureaucrats in the government? Paper pushers. And bureaucrats that are paper pushers that really do nothing. They do the same fucking job for 20 or 30 years. They have the cushion of the government longevity because nobody had the balls to be like, look, all right, this is enough. This is enough.
Dollar. And then in 2008, we had predatory lending, which crashed the housing market, fucked over...
Predatory lending. Imagine getting mad at somebody who lent you money. All right? I love this excuse, like predatory lending. Imagine going to your mother and saying, Mom, I need this money or I'm not going to be able to pay the rent. Mom says, oh, I love you. Here's the money. And then the next month, she's like, hey, can you pay some of it back? And you tell her, well, you knew I couldn't pay it back. You lent me the money. I mean, how dare you? You're a predator. You knew I wasn't going to pay the money. How dare you? As a matter of fact, Mom, I'm going to sue you for lending me the money because you knew I couldn't pay it back.
For so many Americans, and then we use taxpayer money to bail out the banks. And when all the...
I do agree with taxpayer money bailing out the banks, not good.
Houses were cheap, the rich went and bought those up. And that's when you started to see the rent start to increase around the 2010s into the 2000s.
I said that at the time in True Capitalist Radio. I told everybody, you're going to see rents go up the roof. Go back to True Capitalist Radio from 2009, 2010. I told you this. Why? Because everybody was foreclosed. Dude, what did Warren Buffett say? when everybody's leaving the market, you go into the market. And in '08, everybody was fucking foreclosing. Fucking prices of real estate were going down the roof. And who bought them? What this fucking dumbass is saying.
2015s. And then in 2011, we allowed super PACs to exist. So billionaires can now buy elections, and they use that money on attack ads, which divides the country.
This is something I don't disagree with. This is absolutely something I don't disagree with. And hold on, 15 and a half inches of pure imagination said, play the Soviet anthem in the background for this bozo. It would fit as background music for this socialist rant. Look, there's something that he's trying to correlate with all this other bullshit. I do agree that we shouldn't have bailed out the banks. I do agree that super PACs have more of an influence over our politicians than individual donors. And I do agree that, when regular people couldn't pay their mortgages and foreclosed, who came in? Fucking private equity came in and bought all the goddamn fucking the real estate. They're still buying the real estate.
Divide and conquer, and that's what they did. In 2020, we had the pandemic, which both sides of the aisle handled like absolute shit, shut down all small businesses, all the money went to the top, the rich got richer, they printed trillions of dollars.
I do agree with this, but at the same time, even though there was allocated, I do agree with this. I do agree that, big pharma got a huge bunch of money from our coffers, from the taxpayer. But that was under Trump, first of all. Secondly, the flip side of that coin is that the Federal Reserve, the government, gave out a lot of money to the American public. All right, gave out a lot of money to the American public. I think that with, the stimulus packages or the stimulus checks that were deposited in people's shit, the PPP loans, the restaurant recovery, everybody got money. And instead of everybody being like, oh, shit, I got money now, let me try to invest it in myself, let me try to invest it in, instead everybody burnt it, or they went into the stock market. And really, you want to know what's ruining the stock market right now? Retail investors. Because the stock market makes no sense. The crypto market makes no sense. People are just buying because some moron on Reddit tells them to buy, or it's just some fucking coin bot somewhere on some social media app or something is fucking telling them to buy. It's ridiculous. There's no fucking common sense. There's no reasoning for investing. The whole reason why you invest in stocks is to chase profitability.
More, which people needed, but what did all the people do? We spent the money because we needed to spend the money, and where did that money go? To the top, and they got richer. And lastly, they decided during the pandemic, let's lower the interest rates on buying a home to 2.5% to 3% so that people could refinance and get ahead. But no, all that really did was give the green light to a bunch of rich people to basically borrow free money and buy up all the fucking housing.
Well, wait a minute. I like how you glossed over the fact that the folks that were able to pay their houses and gain massive amount of equity because of the increase in property value refi, and you just glossed over that. Yeah, did private equity come in and scoop up a lot of the property? Yes, but a lot of that refi gained either value in the property itself, because most people refi in order to put more shit on their property. Or either that or put a down payment on another property. So it's up to every individual. It's up to you what it is that you want to do, man.
So that we can no longer own a home. And that all ended in 2021. Then we've experienced 25% inflation since the pandemic. And here we are in 2025, and we no longer have a middle class, and the American dream is dead.
Well, you can thank the American people for that, bro. All right? Because once again, I hate to say this, a government is made for the people and by the people. And this is why whenever I tweet anything political on my Twitter account, it's very melancholy about the American public. I am no fan of the American public. I think the American public sucks, and this shitty fucking corrupt government is nothing more than a reflection of the shitty people that we have produced in this country. American exceptionalism is gone. It's over. All right, when we've got idiots like that, you know how many idiots are sitting over here complaining about, man, I ain't got this, I ain't got that, I ain't got this. I mean, we've got so many deadbeats in the country, and Trump And look, this is the last thing I'll do. I know I'm going off on crossing the streams, but Trump is deporting the people that are productive in this country. The people that pick our crops, that build our fucking houses and all this shit. And what are we going to be left with? We're going to be left with all these deadbeats. We're going to be left with all these people. And if it's not them, what I just saw, it's a lot of the Kai Cenat demographic that we have to deal with. Huh? That's great. Anyway, Glorious Bastard, Ghost Close Up Shop. The N-word cuts are more popular than your live shows. Fuck you, all right? And Sammy says, so you're saying you're going to become a Jew? Oh, God. All right, I'm fucking done with this goddamn show, dude. I'm so fucking done. I'm trying to kick you motherfuckers' knowledge. And, of course, because you're so brain-rotted with the goddamn anime and animation and gameplaying and cosplay and all this Toys R Us, I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. You all are finished. That's why I'm glad I'm old. By the time you people are oppressed or turned into fucking fertilizer for the crops of the fucking 10% that are going to live on this earth post fucking humanity, try to live it up as much as you can. That's all I got to say.